3, how are we doing? We are going to be story mapping Figs Giant. You should have just watched me retell it, and I'm going to quickly go through my story map for this. So I'm going to start with just the main points. First one is going to be the storm. So I'm just going to draw a thundercloud with some lightning coming down. Then I want to put in my main characters, so Fig and Tolgo. Remember, if you can, use your ruler to help you. Keep it super neat. Keeping it simple, I'm just going to draw. She's got those two bunches, so I'm going to put her there, and she's got a little dog as well. I'm kind of going to do like a stick dog, because I don't want to make it too difficult. Remember, it's not an art lesson. It is just to jog your memory. Now, the next big part that happens in the story is she finds the giant. I'm going to draw the feet for that. So I'm just going to draw shoes, standing up in the sand, put the heels in. That will remind me. Then in the story after that, she climbs on top and she's panicked when she hears his heartbeat. So I'm going to draw a heart just to remind me of that. Now, following that, she panics and she runs off. So I'm going to have her running off as fast as she can. And she's heading back to Lilliput to try and raise the alarm. Now, so I'm going to have when she gets back to Lilliput, she has to go up. She goes to the bell tower. She tries shouting, it doesn't really work. So I'm going to put in the bell tower, draw my bell first, and that will remind me about that. After that, we have the soldiers come, and they've managed to get. Now we have the giant here. I'm going to have him laying out on the floor because he's still unconscious. Again, I'm not worrying too much about how good my drawing is. It's just to remind me I'm going to have the ropes that they throw over the top. Just draw some lines to show that they've sort of tied him down. Now after that, they feed him. That's the bit I want to remember. And they give him chickens, so maybe I'll just draw a chicken. So I always start with the chicken leg. And then just draw the sort of body, and that's my chicken. So they feed him loads of chickens and sheep and so on. And then they hatch their plan to drug him, and they're going to put poison in a barrel. So I'm going to draw my barrel like this, and then normally they have a couple of bands of sort of steel around them. Maybe just the planks of the barrel, so that will remind me. Maybe I'll put in like sort of skull and crossbones like you get on poison to remind me that that's what they're doing. They're putting poison in there. Now after that, this is the moment she saves him. She realises that she doesn't want her giant to be poisoned. It doesn't seem fair. So he has got the barrel in his hand, so I'm going to draw his sort of, there's the barrel and there are his fingers around it. And at the last minute, she sort of ran in and pushed his hand away. So I'll have her coming to save him. And then he goes to live, they put him in prison. But it's a prison which is on a hilltop. And it was in a temple. So I will do like a sort of churchy thing. And maybe I'll put bars on it to remind me that it is actually a prison for him. Now the next thing that happens is she goes to talk to the king. Now kings wear crowns. So I'll draw the king's crown to remind me that she goes to talk to him and asks for the freedom. And it's at this point that the king tells him all about the nonsense of the eggs and which way you open them. So I draw an egg to remind me that that's what the king tells him. And Gulliver decides that he is going to save the day. So he goes and he gets all of their ships. So I'll draw their ships. Draw a couple of those. And he tows them away, doesn't he? So I'm just going to do a stick figure to remind me it's easy. So he drags all those ships away. Now we think the story should be getting... It should really be a happy ending at this point, but the king then decides he wants to make everybody slaves. So for slaves, I'm going to draw like shackles. These are my shackles, and maybe some chains holding them together, because this is to signify that he was going to imprison all of the Belphusians. So I've got my shackles. And Gulliver will not agree to this. Gulliver says, I'm not having that. Nobody should be a slave. And it's at this point that the king decides that he's going to blind Gulliver. So I'm just draw an eyeball and put a cross through it to say they're going to take his sight. And he's furious at this. He gets very cross. Maybe I'll do those sort of cross eyes to show that that is him not happy about this, and he gets very angry. And he decides he's going to leave. So at this point here, he sits himself on one of those ships. And then I draw my ship around him. And it's a giant ship, but to him it's like a dinghy. And we've got the sails on there. I'm also sat with him. His Fig. And also Tolga, the dog as well. So I have those on there as well. And so that is the end of my story. Give it a go. Try and remember it. You can always come back and have a look at mine. I'll give you a picture of that as well. Right. Give it a go.